Hey guys, editing Tia. I just watched the edit that Justice did for me on the video. And I hope you guys will bear with me through the video because I got emotional. I feel like I experienced every emotion because I think that we all have to take accountability for the way we live. And I feel like diet culture, the whole concept of it, allows people to be victims, and we're not victims. So that's really where I'm coming from with this video. So let me know what you guys think, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Repeat after me. I don't give a...
Hey guys, I am going to be reacting to a video that Justice found it's a TED Talk by Susan Hyatt entitled, "If We Want a Better World, We've Got to Kill Diet Culture." You can probably imagine what I think about diet culture, but I'm always open to hear other opinions and ideas other than mine. I think when we're closed off and we don't want to hear something different than what we think, that's when growth stops. So I'm willing to listen. So let's see what we think.
It was 2009, and I was unpacking my kids' lunch boxes after school, and my then 10-year-old daughter, who was in the 4th grade at the time, said to me, "Hey, Mom, every girl at the cafeteria table today made a pact to not eat their lunches together and go on a diet."
So 10 years old, I feel like we're starting to become more aware, I guess, of our differences and maybe, fat versus skinny, maybe even athletic. I remember a girl, and her name was Jill, and I don't remember her, that's all I remember, Jill. And she was incredibly skinny. Like, she could cross her legs over one another and it looked like it just sunk into the next leg. Like, her foot touched the floor when she crossed her leg. And I just remember she was white and she had straight brown hair, but she was really hairy. It's so weird, but she ate a ton. I remember her mom packed her lunch for her, and I remember being just jealous because her lunch always looked super good, and I always got the crappy school lunch.
That's messed up, right? Yeah, that's messed up. We've got a problem. In fact, we have thousands of problems in our world. Gun violence, healthcare, the environment. And we need all hands on deck to solve these very real and complicated problems. But we don't have all hands on deck, not even close. We have 50% of our population, millions of girls and women, devoting their brilliance.
Okay, I want to stop that there because where she's going with this diet culture doesn't just affect girls. There are men who have eating disorders such as anorexia nervosa, and because we aren't looking for it in boys, it gets overlooked often until the boys or the men are very sick. So,
and mental capacity and emotional intelligence to shrinking their waistlines instead of expanding their lives. If we want a better world, we've got to kill diet culture.
And I'll say that will never happen. I promise that. Until you have people like the Kardashians, or Demi Lovato with her Team ET, as I love Michelle McDaniel from my thoughts will probably offend you. She calls it poop tea because that's exactly what it is. It's laxative tea. When you have, it will never end until those big influencers, TV personalities, movie stars, all these people stop endorsing these products. This is, great concept, a great thing to hope for, never going to happen.
Imagine being on a rocket mission and 50% of the astronauts are exhausted, miserable, counting their calories and their points and weighing their food and themselves, and instead of focusing on the very important mission at hand.
Okay, I have a different perspective. So you guys know my husband's a retired fighter pilot. She's talking about astronauts. Imagine them worrying about their calories and their points and weighing themselves and weighing their food. Well, guess what? They have fitness standards they have to meet. My husband's airplane had an ejection seat weight limit. So they kind of have to do that. They kind of have to care about what they're putting in their bodies and what they weigh and if they're fit or not. They have physical fitness tests that they have to pass every year. So it doesn't work both ways.
I would argue that rocket mission would be doomed.
Well, before the rocket mission, they would have already prepared themselves physically to be fit, to be the right weight and size to go on that mission. And then guess what? The food is packed for them onto the rocket ship proportionately for each person. So they don't have to think about it because it's done for them.
And that's a metaphor for our culture right now. Table today.
It was so easy. If it was just that easy. It's not though. It's just not that. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That rocket mission would be doomed. And that's a metaphor for our culture right now. Millions of girls and women are depleted and distracted, and it's no wonder, because from the time we're able to process images, we see ads like this. Now, we recreated this ad. You may remember it from the media last year. It was in Times Square. The Kardashians were promoting it. It was all over Instagram. The message is for teens and tweens: if you're not happy with your body, girl, just suck it.
So, but here's the problem, is that our kids are being exposed to less whole food and more processed crap, and we're seeing childhood obesity at all-time high rates. It's like 60% of the American population is either overweight or obese. So we have a problem. So what's happening if diet culture is the problem? It's not meshing up. It's not adding up.
Suckers filled with laxatives. It's diet culture that has.
I argue that this all has to start at home. If the story she told at the beginning of this is true, and her daughter said, "Isn't that messed up that everyone took a pact not to eat lunch?" If that's the case, then she did her job as a mother at home to, her daughter understood that was messed up, right? Well, I would argue that for every one of the little girls like her daughter, there are 5 or 6 more little girls at home whose parents are telling her that she's fat and she doesn't need to eat that and she should put that back. And do you think you need that? Because I was that little girl. My parents were on my ass all the time because I was a fat kid. And guess what? They fed me high fat food. I grew up in a Mexican household. Everything was made with lard, and it tasted great, but and then on my dad's side of the family, it was Southern fried home, like fried potatoes. I loved all of it. Biscuits and gravy, heavy calorically dense stuff. I was told that, hey, fatty, stop. So it's not just what we're seeing in Times Square, like that lollipop ad. It starts at home.
Created this, and together, with all hands on deck, we can dismantle this.
I'd like to know how.
When women diet, the whole world loses.
Oh my Atlanta. What the hell? That is no. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble with this one. No, I disagree with that. That's just, okay, sorry. The people take this word diet and make it into this bad 4-letter word. And it's not. Everyone's on a diet. What you eat is your diet. So let's see what she says.
And when women stop dieting, the whole world wins. And if we want a better world, we have got to kill diet culture.
Tell me how.
So what is diet culture?
If she doesn't say how to do it at the end here, this is just all...
Dieting is any form of eating that's unsustainable, unpleasurable.
That's not true. That's not what the definition of diet is at all. That is not what the definition of diet is. Because a diet is what you eat. It doesn't have to be unpleasurable. Yeah. A food and drink considered in terms of its qualities, composition, and its effects on health. That's what a diet is. Diet doesn't mean that it's unpleasurable. That's not right. See, she's spreading misinformation. That's not what it is.
Complicated. If you can do it wrong, boo, you are on a diet. And diet culture is a whole system of beliefs that our society upholds that elevates thinness over actual health. Elevating shrinking your physical form over well-being.
Interesting. She's a thin woman. What size do you guys think she is?
It's a whole system that permeates every fabric of our culture. It's oppression. Oppression.
That word is overused by every sector that wants to claim some kind of victimhood. I have a real problem with victimhood because I have been the fat kid, I've been the fat teenager, I've been the fat adult, and it's BS. And I just don't buy into diet culture. I just don't. I'm still waiting for her to say how the solution to this.
It's a culture where Photoshop.
Because she's already given the wrong definition of the word diet and spun it into what she wants to make it.
Is so rampant that it's rare to see a photo of a woman online of her face or her body that's unedited.
True.
And it's a culture where a group of 9 and 10-year-old girls gather around cafeteria tables and decide to starve themselves.
That has to start at home. You have to create a healthy environment at home for your daughters and your sons. It bothers me that she's not including the boys. For your daughters and your sons to know their self-worth, to understand that food is fuel. And yes, obviously food is pleasurable too. But I hate the term, my relationship with food. I think that all has to start at home. And I challenge her that those little girls at the table who are making a pact to not eat together, that there is something going on at home for them to come up with that. Either the parents, like my parents did, the parents are saying something to them, and or they are being exposed to advertisement and TV, YouTube, whatever, where maybe there should be some parental monitoring going on. There's not enough of that happens.
And that's considered normal. Research shows us that 91% of women dislike their physical form so much that they resort to dieting. So if we were to look at this arena, 2,000 tickets sold, let's just assume 50% of this audience is female. 910 of us are currently dieting. And what's worse is that research also shows us that 97% of girls and women think one intensely negative thought about their bodies every single day. Thoughts like, I'm ugly and you.
Okay, again, I still go back to my own experience as a fat kid and what was said to me in my own home then spins into what I say to myself in my mind. So my argument is that this all has to start at home with these little girls that are sitting at the lunch table in 4th grade deciding to starve themselves. Where does this come from? We have to be able to teach our kids to differentiate between reality and a TV show or a photoshopped image. You know, they know they don't live in a Minecraft house.
Useless, there's no use, I'm fat, I've let myself go. 58% of college-age women feel pressure to conform and be skinnier.
Okay, I would like to be able to look up these studies because I saw that one was from like some anorexia nervosa group. A UK study found that the average 45-year-old woman diets 1.4 years from the age of 16. Okay.
And by the time a woman is my age, 45-ish, she's dieted 61 separate times. She's attempted 61 times, and she's dieted 31 years of her life away on average. So you can imagine if we're devoting our capacity to shrinking ourselves, how we're not focused on our highest and best work.
See, I don't believe that either. I don't believe that you can't care about what you're putting into your body and focus on your highest and best work. It's not like, oh, I'm on a diet and that's all I'm thinking about today and I can't do my work because I'm too consumed. That just doesn't make sense. Most women I know are fabulous multitaskers. We're mothers. We're wives. We are career people. You know, I have bodybuilder friends, powerlifter friends. That dumbs us down so much when she says that. That makes us sound like we are incapable of doing anything but focusing on not eating and being a size 2.
In a study of 14,000 teenagers, just the idea that they're overweight causes greater risk of suicide.
I would like more information on that.
I work with women of all walks of life. High-performing women, CEOs, politicians, scientists, stay-at-home moms, and the amount of diet culture impact that this has on their lives, creating stuckness in relationships, finances, getting their work out into the world, it's everywhere.
Give me an example.
I recently worked with a scientist who had an amazing invention. She was stalling on getting a patent for her invention, and she couldn't figure out why. And so through our work together, she realized that she knew this patent was going to go through, and she knew that this invention could save lives, but she was terrified to be seen in the public eye. She was terrified to have photos taken. She was terrified to be on TV, all because of how she looked.
Okay. There are a lot of people who feel that way, who are all, like she said, all walks of life, thin, fat, muscular, skinny, whatever. That's definitely a problem that maybe she needs to talk to a therapist about.
I also recently worked with a newly elected senator. She was terrified to be in the public eye. She was stalling on running for office for years because she knew once she took the stage, Women in the public eye are subjected to things like this, especially in politics. Why must she dress that way? I think she's confused about her gender.
That is true. I challenge that with, I don't challenge it, I agree with it. That does happen because look at women powerlifters and bodybuilders. Go onto Instagram and go to somebody, especially I see it with female powerlifters because, you know, with powerlifting, it's not about the aesthetic, it's about being able to do the lift. So powerlifters tend to be bigger women, heavier women, and you will see, and you know, you'll see a world record breaking lift, and you will see comments under that addressing that, saying she's fat. You know, does she want to be a man? How big's her dick? Like, it's bad. So that is true. And that goes right back to being at home too. Raise your boys better. Like, what the hell? Because those comments, 99% of them are not from women. They're from men. I love men, don't get me wrong, but there are some men that need to be straightened out.
Or this. She says she's on a diet, and then she has herself a second helping of cheese.
I mean, that is a societal problem. Like, who gives a damn? Angela Merkel wasn't wanted for her physique. It was her mind, obviously, as a politician, right? And it is unfortunate. It upsets me. I've talked about the Instagram account called "You Look Like a Man," where women, and it's mostly, as far as I know, it's all women in sports. Well, the owner of the account, she finds things, you know, online, and people submit things that have been sent to them, and it's super unfortunate, and it's ugly, and it's not right. And there are times that I can't look at that account because I get so angry with the double standard, because a man is never going to be asked, you know, if, say, you know, the president is elected, like, say, you know, John F. Kennedy was young, and, you know, they would never say, oh, so now you're president, how are you going to balance the presidency and your family? But women get asked that. No one would comment on a man having a second helping of cheese. Do you know what I mean? So I do agree there is a double standard there, but I just argue it's all of this starts back in the home and how we are teaching our kids to behave.
I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to live in a world where I can't have a second helping of cheese. Hello.
That's not funny.
If she
I don't like
wants to
it.
take an
That whole hello, that's not her vernacular. She doesn't talk like that. She's trying to be relatable, and it didn't go off very well.
interest in her, then she shouldn't have changed her look. Or how about this one?
It's not okay to ever catcall, or she called it wolf whistling. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And again, it's how we raise our kids. Do better at home.
Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president? Women are trained from an early age that if you put yourself out there, this is what you're gonna get. And if you're not thin enough, pretty enough, conform enough, well, get ready. I'm happy to say that the newly elected senator, she was a candidate of the likes they had never seen before. Female, Indian American, brown, mouthy. And she worked through her issues, got elected, and her constituents are so much better off having her in office.
I find that interesting that she said mouthy. Isn't that a double standard? Would you call a man who was like a go-getter, and would you call him mouthy? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that was a poor choice of words there, Susan.
Here's what we can do together. I've painted some pretty depressing statistics here, but the good news is we created diet culture and we can dismantle it.
Okay, let's hear it,
together.
Susan. I've been waiting.
Pay attention.
Let's go.
Pay attention to what you're being fed through media, books, magazines, social media. What are brands trying to sell you? And say no. to things that degrade women, that teach girls and women that they must be thin in order to be valuable. Opt out.
It all sounds rah, sounds great, right? I still argue this all has to go back to home. This all starts at home. What are you allowing your kids to see?
Don't give your money to diet companies who just want to take all your money and keep you on this cycle of not enoughness. Teach your girls to do the same. Use your voice. It is powerful. Speak out against brands who are making money off of shaming girls and women about how they look. I don't know if you guys saw this in the news a couple of days ago. There was a line of plates being sold at Macy's that was teaching girls and women, hey, if you want to fit in your skinny jeans, put just this much of food in the middle.
You know, that's funny to me. I never saw those, but I would have taken it as a joke. I do think that it's important that we maintain healthy bodies, that we maintain normal BMIs, unless you are a bodybuilder, you're a power lifter, and you have major amounts of muscle on you. The BMI scale obviously isn't going to apply to those people. But, we know the hip to waist ratio is real. So a woman's not supposed to have a waist larger than 35, I believe. There are standards for a reason, because we know that if we have an unhealthy weight and, we're bigger than we should be. Like, for example, when I get heavy, my weight, I'm an apple. It's from my chest to my belly. And that makes me more likely to have a heart attack. Like, we still have to do things to keep ourselves healthy. And we can still choose to change what we consume so that we are healthier. There's nothing wrong with that. She keeps saying the diet companies, these evil diet companies. I drink protein drinks every day. I drink 2 a day. That's how I can supplement my protein in, because you guys know I don't have a stomach, and this is how I can get enough protein in the day. So is that company that I buy my protein shakes for, are they an evil diet company that I shouldn't give my money to?
The plate, but hey, you're going to be stuck with some mom jeans if you fill the plate. Now,
mom
first
jeans
of all,
are back
they don't
in
know
style
how to
anyway.
insult properly, because can we agree that mom jeans are back? Hello.
Hello, girl. That is not how you talk. Look at her face. That is not how she's trying so hard to be relatable and give herself some street cred. She's a white, middle-aged suburban mother. Talk like you talk with your friends. You don't talk like that. I hate that so much. But
the good news is we all caused a ruckus online, and Macy's pulled the line from all their stores nationwide. So you speaking out can make a difference. Here's something simple and free. Compliment a girl or a woman on something other than how she looks. Compliment her spirit, her intellect, her creativity, her empathy. There is so much more to us.
Bob and I always try to do that with all the kids, and I did compliment them on how smart they are and how funny they are and how kind they are. But I did compliment them on, I would tell them that they were beautiful, because I was not told I was beautiful. When I was a child, it was me and my older sister Tasha, and Tasha she passed away in 2014. So she was 4 years and 2 days older than me. Her birthday was the 27th of August and mine was the 29th, or is the 29th. And my mom said that Tasha was the pretty one and I was the smart one. And it was a good thing I was smart, because I wasn't pretty and I was never going to have a husband. And I'm almost 50 and that still hurts my feelings, And my mom is dead and my sister's dead, and it still hurts my feelings, which shows you how deeply the wounds can run. So I always made sure that I told Justice how handsome he is, and the girls how beautiful they are. And I still compliment them. You're so smart. You're so funny. You're so kind. You're so empathetic. I did the whole gamut. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, of telling your children that they're beautiful. because I needed to hear that, because I still, to this day, when Bob is like, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Of course, he's my husband, and I hope he thinks that. And every time he says that, I tell him he doesn't get out enough, And so when I look in the mirror and, I'm as I've gotten leaner and I've gotten older, these lines upset me. And every time I look in the mirror, I'm almost shocked. Like, I come home from the gym, I take my makeup off, and I rinse off, and when I look up in the mirror, I'm like, holy shit balls, I'm not 30 anymore. And it still startles me. So I beg to differ that we do need to tell our kids that they're beautiful and smart and funny and all those other things.
Than our physical forms. Yes. Thank you. And support diversity, support brands that were mentioned earlier, like Athleta, that feature girls and women of all shapes, sizes, skin colors, ethnicities.
Do you guys remember when Nike came out with a plus size line? For, I don't know if it was for men and women. I remember the women's one, and like the mannequins were even bigger, and some people lost their shit over that. Like, oh my God, that's supporting, fat acceptance, blah, blah. Well, fat people need clothes to exercise in too. Like, don't we want them to exercise? Like, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, great, because I have a weird shaped body. Like, I have really wide shoulders, and I have big lats, and then I have a smaller waist, and stuff is hard for me to fit into. And there are certain brands that for some reason fit me better, and they do seem to be the brands that have, like she's saying, the diversity. That's cool. I'm down for that.
We aren't all skinny white chicks. And lastly, this might seem obvious, no more dieting.
Okay, cool. That's a great theory. That's a great idea. It's not even a theory, because it's more of a hypothesis, because we all are on a diet, because a diet is what we eat. And sometimes we have to change our diet because we are eating too much and we are getting too big. And these brilliant brains that she's talking about are going to have shortened lives because we're saying, throw the diets out the window, eat what you want, do what you want. It doesn't matter, because we're empowering ourselves to what? Be 150 pounds overweight and die before we're 50? Well, there goes that brilliant mind. That's not smart either.
Don't go on a diet. Don't give your power away to measuring and weighing and basing your worth on what a scale says. And if you're not dieting, support the people in your life who have been dieting. It starts with each of us. To the women in the room, I want you to stop dieting so you can feel strong and leave a legacy and make an impact. And to everyone in this room, you only get one body, give it love. You only get one life.
You only get one body, give it love. I love my body by putting the proper fuel into it, by exercising every day, because that's what we're made to do. We're made to move. And I love myself. Therefore, I care about what I put in my body. I do care how many calories I put in it, because if I put too much into it, I'm going to be fat. And I have been 185 pounds overweight, and that's no way to live either. That's not a legacy I want to leave behind. I've also been 120 pounds and been frail and couldn't do anything, and that's also a legacy I don't want to leave behind. I've been both. There's a happy medium. We have to get there. It's not all, diet bad. It's unrealistic.
Make it count, and together we will not leave those little girls starving at the cafeteria table.
And it has to start at home. You have to start that at home. I'm telling you, it starts at home.
Thank you.
So I agreed with some of what she said. Obviously, I get really upset when I hear stuff like this, and I get really upset when we're like, we're going to blame diet culture, which that phrase is within the last 3 or 4 years. We're going to blame diet culture. We're going to blame this bad company and these bad people. And these for a Kardashian to endorse a product, do you know how much money they have to be making to do a post on Instagram? Like, it has to be in the millions, because that company knows that their followers are going to go and buy their product. And it's got to be, I agree. Obviously, we know that the diet industry is a billion-dollar industry. We have to be smart about it. Everything, these behaviors and how we feel about ourselves, it starts at home. So I refuse to allow myself to be a victim of anything. I take control of my life. I take control of how I feel about myself and my body. It makes me feel good to go to the gym every day and sweat and lift heavy shit. It makes me feel good to put high quality food into my body. And guess what? I weigh and measure it because I don't want to be 310 pounds again. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So before I have an aneurysm, I'm going to go. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys sticking with me on this one. Yeah, you guys are great. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you in the next one, and we'll make it much lighter, okay? Thanks. Bye.
Please repeat after me. I don't give a...